you are ready to book bigger stages and speak at larger events. What if I told you that booking these stages, becoming sought after, in demand, booked out as a speaker is far easier than you could ever imagine? I'm going to be sharing 2 practical tips and tools that you can use to get yourself onto these bigger stages and booked to speak at these larger events right now. The first is easy, it's simple, it's straightforward. You just have to be unafraid to put yourself out there. The second is also easy, simple, straightforward. Most people are not doing this one. They are not utilizing this because they're afraid. Now, I know that's not you, so let's dive in. The first and simplest, easiest, most sort of surefire way to start booking more speaking engagements and bigger scale events is to utilize the connections you already have. This could be friends, this could be business besties, this could be colleagues, clients, coaches, mentors, people that you personally have a connection with, or people that you are connected with through somebody else. So someone else can join the dots. So this way, that person already knows and trusts you. They know who you are. They know that you're a good speaker. They know what you stand for. And so when you dive in and you pitch yourself to them, there's far more trust already built up. So your self-belief, your self-trust, your promise to them is kind of already, you've kind of got the amber light. Rather than being on red, they don't know who you are, you've got the amber light and all you need is them to give you the green light to go. These connections that you personally are connected with are the quickest and easiest way. Now, I will say this straight away because there can be fear around reaching out to people that you know. What if they say no? What if actually they don't think I'm a very good speaker? What if they book me and then they don't like what I do? All these thoughts can come up. I want to remind you that that is a story your subconscious is creating and putting onto that person. That person's not going to think like that. They're too busy worrying about themselves. Everyone is always worrying about themselves. They're not worrying about what they think of you. They are thinking, what do they think of me? So pitch yourself to people you know. That is a surefire way because you've already got the trust and the relationship there. And then kind of the 2.0 of that is utilize connections. So for example, I have a client that I worked with last year. She booked her first speaking engagement in 2024. She spoke on stage, a couple of hundred people at this event, and she had 2 goals at this event, or 2 aims. The first was to deliver something incredible on stage, to make sure that what she did on stage was memorable. It was something that people would talk about for weeks, months after the event, years to come. They're still reflecting, still talking about, they still remember the experience she delivered them on stage. Her second focus and aim of the event, that was on stage, the other was off stage. And you can literally take what I'm telling you right now and do this next time you are speaking at an event. Make what you do on stage unforgettable. This is where my work comes in. And then the other part, also something that I helped her to do and advised her to focus on, was relationship building, creating connections off stage. So you position yourself as the authority, as the only option when you're on stage. People know that you are an expert. You are the one to listen to. You are the one to guide them and lead them because you're on that stage. But you are missing out on an opportunity if you don't utilise building connections, creating relationships off stage. So what she did was she made sure that when she was off stage, she was connecting with other speakers and with other incredible people in that room. She made it a priority to connect with those people and build a relationship with them, because if they host an event, guess who they're going to ask? If she's at the forefront of their mind, or she drops them an email or a message or a text, they know her and trust her. They've seen her on the stage. Straight away, that's going to put you at an advantage. Those connections and relationships are also great in the 2.0 version of this, where your connection has a connection. So let's say that the person you've connected with is called Maria. Now, Maria is speaking at an event for Alex. Alex comes to Maria and says, I'm still looking to fill a couple of speaker slots. Do you know anyone? Is there anyone you could recommend? Straight away, Maria says you. Or Maria comes to you and asks, would you be interested in speaking at Alex's event? Can I put you forward as a suggestion? You literally put yourself in a position where not even that much effort, or outreach is probably the word, not a lot of outreach is required from you when you are building these influential connections. So the key is, when you are on stage, you are building your own influence. You become a person of influence when you're on that stage. When you're off stage, you are building connections with other people of influence. That in itself is a strategy to speak on more stages. So you can take that, you can run with it. You can also, bear in mind, you can also apply these things when you're at networking events, conferences, in-person events of any kind, VIP days, retreats, whatever. You can do that second half. If you aren't speaking, you obviously can't utilize positioning yourself as the person of influence. However, you can connect with other people that are influential and build your connections. So you should be doing that if you go to live events of any kind. I mean, I would even do that if you're inside of different memberships and things like that. There are always ways that you can position yourself as the authority, as the only option, but there are also unlimited ways and opportunities to build connection with other influential people and then utilize their connections as well. But it has to be a genuine relationship. I'm going to say that right now. You cannot, I can see straight through somebody that is using me to get to somebody else. We as human beings are made up to be, we can tell when somebody is deceiving us, somebody's lying. When you have that gut feeling, you're like, something is off about them, I'm just not sure about that person. Don't be that person. I'm sure you're not, because you're in my world, you are honest. Two of my top values are bravery and courageousness and honesty. So if you're not an honest person, you're probably not going to relate to me, like me, be in my world anyway. So I know you got that covered. The second way, so that's the first way. So recapping that is becoming the person of influence, like using the stage. Use your own connections. Use your own connections to continue building your influence on the stage. But when you are on the stage, also be creating those more connections. And 2.0 of that is utilize your connections. Allow other people to join the dots for you. It's really helpful to be able to email somebody that you don't know but you know of and say, oh, I know so-and-so. Like in the scenario I explained, hey Alex, I've heard that you're looking for some new speakers, or I wanted to reach out to find out, if you are accepting applications from speakers. I'd love to pitch my speech to you. I think it brings so much value to your audience. I'm friends with Maria, or I work with Maria, or Maria is my mentor, Maria is my client, whatever the connection is, because that instantly builds trust. And Alex can go and ask Maria what she thinks of you, would she recommend you, get a little bit more of like a scoop on who you are. So your reputation is important. It is really important, as is your relationships. And then moving on to number 2. So this is the part that most people don't do this. A lot of people will utilize the connections they've got, or they will wait. This is the number one thing people do. They wait for their connections to reach out to them. Don't do that. Don't be that person. You could be waiting forever. Literally that skeleton meme that's like sitting, waiting. You will be that person. So you reach out, you put yourself out there, and you'll learn as well, even if you are, there's this discomfort around that, you will learn that over time, rejection doesn't mean anything about you, and you become more resilient. I had a call with somebody a couple of months ago about speaking at their event, and I'd pitched myself to them, and she emailed me back, the event host emailed me back, and she was like, I'm really interested in talking to you, could you jump on a call tomorrow morning? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, like, let's go. Jumped on Zoom, and she was like, I'm really, really interested in what you do and, what you said your speech is on. However, we've got somebody that I think could kind of be a bit of a crossover. And in all honesty, I thought at the time, I was like, well, why have you got me on this call if you don't want to book me for your event? Like, why are we wasting our time right now? But I know that she is doing this for future. She's putting the feelers out and thinking ahead of this event to her next event. And that's why she was speaking to me. She didn't actually have a space for me at the event she was hosting, like literally in a couple of months. But what she was doing was building that connection. See what I said before? Building that connection so that when she runs her next event, she kind of has me on her radar. And I also now have her on my radar, so I can reach out in a few months' time and follow up, which maybe we'll do another episode on follow-ups and maintaining connections if they've been made through an online space, or pitching yourself but them not booking you that time. Maybe we'll do another one of those, because I think that would be really, really helpful actually. Back to it. So number 2, this is the one that most people don't do, which is reach out to people that they don't know, which is what I did actually in this circumstance. The reason why people don't reach out generally is because you create a story around, oh, well, they won't want to book me, they've got bigger connections, or they've got their speakers and stuff sorted out, oh, they'll have had it planned months in advance. Let me tell you, people do not have things planned months in advance. They do have some things planned. Generally, I would say the big headline speakers are planned, or the vast majority, the 90% of headline speakers are booked months in advance, like 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer in advance. However, if you bring value and they can squeeze you in, they will. Whether that means their panel of 3 becomes a panel of 4, whether that means that they add another 30 minutes onto the day because they want you, whether that means they cut their lunch short by 15 minutes because they know how valuable you and your speech will be to their audience, it's never too late to throw yourself or to throw your name in the hat. Even if, like the scenario I just explained, my personal situation a few months ago, even if they don't have space for you, or they don't have space for you, they don't have time for you, or they think you're too close to somebody they've already got, that doesn't mean that in the future, or that their connection, remember, connections have connections, won't book you. So you could pitch yourself to an event, you don't know them at all, you've never met that person, you have no connections with that person. You throw your name into the ring and they say, do you know what, I love what you do, but we've filled out all of our speaker slots, we don't have any room on a panel, we'd love for you to come to this event, we'd love to meet you, but we can't give you an opportunity at this time. They will put you to the side on the reserve list for a start. So if somebody drops out, if somebody's ill, guess who they go to first? You. Go to the reserve list. Who contacted them last? And for future events, when they want to book different speakers, guess where they go first? You again, because you're on the reserve list. You are at the front of their mind. Guess who they throw into the ring when their friend comes to them and says, I've had a speaker drop out last minute. Do you know anyone that does this? You're on the reserve list in their mind or in their documents. And they go, do you know what, actually, she pitched herself to me. She does that. She speaks on that. Why not get in touch with her? Here's her number. Here's her email. Connection. You just utilise a connection's connection without even doing anything, without even realising, without doing anything more. Do you see how just by putting yourself out there, opportunities, it's a little bit, and I think of it like this, right? You walk into your kitchen, you have ample opportunities of making food to feed yourself, right? But if you don't step into the kitchen, if you don't open that door and say, I am here, I am in the kitchen, I want food, food's not going to miraculously fall out of the sky into your lap, right? You've intentionally gone into the kitchen because you want food, and you go and you make breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever. And you have various different, appliances that you can go to and use or not. And that's what putting yourself out there into the speaking world is. How many times have you walked into the kitchen thinking, oh, I'm hungry, I want to grab a snack, and then you're like, you know what, there's nothing I fancy, and you walk out. Or, I'm not really hungry, you pick something up, or do I really need to eat that? No, and you leave the kitchen. That's all that's happening when you put yourself out there and you don't get a response. No one's hungry for you right now. That's such a weird thing to say. I heard it as I said it. But if you don't step into the kitchen, you don't have any options. Nobody knows you exist. So put yourself out there. I know there's a whole number of, speaking coaches that say you should cold pitch, you shouldn't cold pitch, like that. There's a whole variety, right? Somebody I know is like, whatever you do not cold pitch yourself. I disagree. Why? Because you never know, and you've got nothing to lose. You send 10 emails to pitch yourself to various different people, or you reached out via LinkedIn, or you reach out via Instagram, you comment on posts, You go onto the website for the event and you see, an inquiry form, so you fill out that form. You can go and send 10 things and get nothing back. You can go and send 100 things and get nothing back. But guess what? You're no worse off. You weren't booked before you sent those emails. You're not booked now. But you are better off because you are now on people's radar. People now know you exist. You can now follow that up. You can go and build that connection. And you do that. I definitely think we need another episode on this, on the follow-up. You do that any way that you would build and grow and nurture a connection, a relationship. So many people do not put themselves forward for things because they're afraid that they're going to be rejected. They think, oh, well, they won't choose me. You don't know that. You're not in that person's head. You've got nothing to lose. So send the damn email. Reach out via whatever platform. Send the inquiry form. Because best case scenario, you book a speaking event. You literally book a speaking engagement. Worst case scenario, somebody knows you exist. If somebody knows you exist, you're already better off than when they didn't know you existed. You've already started that journey from going from cold pitch, that person doesn't know me, to utilising a warm relationship. Someone that trusts you and believes in you and respects you. You have gone from nobody to somebody just by sending that email. So next time you are either going to pitch yourself, maybe you're in person, right? Maybe you go to an event and you want to pitch yourself. Maybe you are sending an email. Maybe you're sending an inquiry form. Maybe you're sending a private message, a text, whatever it is that you are sending. And you try and talk yourself out of it, or you think, do you know what, maybe I'm just not going to bother, like this event's too big for me, I have only done a handful of speaking engagements, or I'm not experienced enough, I'm not known enough, I don't have enough followers. No matter what excuse you try and give yourself to keep you where you're at, to keep you comfortable, to stop you feeling the discomfort and the potential rejection, or maybe let's say the inevitable rejection. I want you to say to yourself, what have I got to lose? And then click send. What have I got to lose? Then click send. What have I got to lose? Send. Every time. Because you'll get to a point where you don't make it mean anything about you. And it comes so much easier. It just happens. You just send the freaking email. You just submit the inquiry form. You just send the message and reach out to somebody. And it can feel more intimidating sometimes when you're doing it to somebody you know, because you feel connected to that person. You feel like they owe you something. Nobody owes you anything. And as soon as you accept that, it's so much easier. I reached out to a previous client a couple of weeks ago and was like, look, I'd love to help you in any way with your event. Let me know what I can do for you. I sent her a voice note and she didn't respond. Does that mean anything about me? No. Does that mean she's not going to reach out to me? No. Does that mean that I will or won't end up at that event? Who knows? But A, I wanted to support her, and B, I know I can add value to that. So what have I got to lose? I would love to set you a task. Now that is part anyway. This has been a full out Speaker Toolkit episode. So first of all, if you have watched it to this point, I want you to put the word committed into the comments. Go to the comments right now, and put committed. So that I know you are here, so that I can champion you, cheerlead you along, and encourage you to keep going and put yourself out there. Put the word committed into the comments, and then what I want you to do is commit for the next month, for the rest of this month if you're watching it in March, if you're watching it after that point, at any time, for the next month, I want you to commit to putting yourself out there, aiming for rejection as much as possible. In how many ways can I be rejected today? Or once a day, I want you to do something where you could face rejection. I.e., step into a coffee shop, order your coffee, can I have an oat latte? They give it to you, and instead of asking how much is that and paying for it, you say, would I be able to have it for free? Chances are they're going to say no. They say no, you're like, no worries, I did guess that, how much is it? And you pay. You just got rejected, and guess what? You didn't die, you're okay, you're fine. You actually feel more resilient because you just did something that scared the shit out of you, that most people wouldn't do, and you got rejected right there in the moment, in your face, and you're okay. So I want you for the next month to put yourself in positions of rejection. I want you to aim for as much rejection in the next 30 days, 31 days, or if it's February, 28, 29 days, as possible. For the rest of March, if you're watching it live, when it comes out on the 7th, I want you to spend the rest of this month getting as much rejection as you possibly can. Because when you get rejected on repeat, you learn that rejection is safe, rejection is okay, and that actually you're so insanely resilient, it doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean anything about you. And it's so freeing. It's so freeing to be told no, to be closed, for someone to close the door on you and you not care. You not make it mean anything about you. That's your task for the rest of this month. And I'm going to do a follow-up episode on follow-ups because I think that's going to be so useful. All right, I will see you on the next episode. Go get rejected.